welcome back to the second segment of the Harry Thomas Show. Today is Saturday, January 12th, 2008. The website is harrythomas.info. I'm your host, Harry Thomas. Now, I want to talk about voter fraud. There was a huge voter turnout in New Hampshire. This was reported by the Baltimore Sun. So, they're talking about, 150,000 independent voters, 500,000 voters expected to turn out. This one came out Tuesday, January 8th, 2008. 1 million immigrants seek U.S. citizenship to vote. A record 1 million immigrants sought U.S. citizenship last year so that they could vote in the 2008 presidential election. That was reported on Monday. I also reported on a special report this week about how there was witnesses of busloads of people from out of state and stuff being brought in. This was exposed on the Rush Limbaugh show. You can check out that report for yourself. But Bev Harris has a book out called Ballot Tampering in the 21st Century. She's the founder of blackboxvoting.org. She said that the Iowa caucus had vote fraud. The Republican caucuses usually take only half as long as the Democratic caucuses due to simpler procedures. Yet the Republicans are lagging behind the Democrats now by over 10 hours in having their results in. Results delayed are a red flag, and that's what she talks about in the book, is how they don't reveal the figures. We still haven't got all the figures from Iowa. That is red flags for voting fraud. I implore you to read her book. And I have that available at the website, harrythomas.info, along with Hacking Democracy and HBO documentary. Links up there. You can get all the information for yourself. Now, the Giuliani vote totals were going down by a couple thousand midstream in. And they believe that this was happening in Lynn County. There was reports. So, during the middle of the election, Giuliani's numbers are going down. There we go, another red flag for voter fraud. I want to play this clip where Bev Harris talks about the two guys who are in control of the voting machine contracts in all of New England.
Yeah, well, basically, there's the two guys that have grown up together, and they started this company, and this company has the programming contract for all of the voting machines in New England, which New Hampshire is, of course, in New England, so they've got all of New Hampshire. And basically, you have John Silvestro, who is in this video we show. He's kind of a pontificating type, And then you've got this Ken Hadjar. Ken Hadjar is a very nasty character, frankly. He threatens. He's threatened us. He threatened Brad blog. Brad Friedman has a very popular blog it's on the progressive side. And apparently, he threatened a woman that was in opposition of his on a political thing having to do with building a power plant. And it was sufficient that she actually filed for a restraining order. And so that's one of the documents that I'm wanting to add to his little file on our site. And then I found more information from a radio interview he had granted, and I have that quoted in the latest article on our site, in which he made quotes like, well, I don't always follow every little law. And he admitted that he sometimes totes memory cards, which are the little ballot boxes, around in the trunk of his car, and he doesn't see anything wrong with swapping a memory card in the middle of an election if he's servicing the machine.
Now, this is just simply diabolical. This stuff needs to be stopped. It needs to be stood up against. This is America, damn it, and we have rights, and they are under attack. People need to mobilize and take our country back. I've got this one, came out January 9, 2008, out of the Op-Ed News. New Hampshire election fraud. And these are all the numbers, folks. You can look for them for yourself. They're all right there. I have all the numbers up. You can go look at it under the weekly news section. I got this up. January 11, 2008. Voter fraud, Obama and Paul in New Hampshire. And it would only be history repeating itself. I mean, this happened in 2004. It happens all the time. Look what happened in 2000 in Florida with all the rigging of the elections. I mean, we can't stand for this anymore. This stuff is just incredible. Here we go. Election vote fraud by Dave Lindorf. Diebold again. Did Hillary really win New Hampshire? This is what some people are wondering. After looking closely at the totals in the votes for surprise Democratic primary victor Hillary Clinton and for Barack Obama, who placed instead of winning as all the polls had predicted he would. And thanks to candidate Dennis Kucinich, we are likely to find out. Kucinich today filed a request and a required $2,000 fee to start up a manual recount of the machine ballots cast in the state. Now, they were predicting Obama at by winning by 7%, and he ended up losing by 3%. That's a 10% difference. Them are big numbers. And Ron Paul could do this for the Republicans if he paid the $2,000 fee and wanted a recount of the Republican side votes. Congressman Kucinich stated today that a huge disparity which Hillary Clinton overturned to defeat Barack Obama in the New Hampshire primary was a mystery that needs to be solved, as he leads the charge for a recount to discern exactly how the pollsters could have gotten it so wrong, or if vote fraud took place. Now, Dennis Kucinich is backing that New Hampshire recount, but vote fraud expert Bev Harris warns he could be walking into a trap. She says that it could be used to validate the Diebold machines because, it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes. And though Kucinich has cautioned that he doesn't expect the recount to produce significantly different results, vote fraud expert Bev Harris warns that unless chain of custody issues are addressed before a recount, the recount itself is worthless because it will be overseen by the same people who committed vote fraud in the first place, if indeed there was any chicanery. A candidate asking for a recount may well be used as a tool to prove everything was okay, and then that candidate will be further discredited. Bev Harris did point that out. We need to take action in our own communities to make sure that somebody's keeping an eye on the vote. These exit polls for years were always very accurate into what was going on, and then all of a sudden Diebold machines go in, and that all goes out the door, and then you got spinmeisters on the mainstream media trying to discredit the exit polls, saying that they're not no good and they don't reflect accurately, when for years they did. Now come on, America, wake up to this. This one came out of the Op-Ed News, January 10th, 2008. Hey, Ron Paul, I'm in your primary stealing your votes. Our fair elections are filled with fraud, and we know it. To ignore it would not be revolutionary. Ron Paul has done best when his supporters step up and lead the campaign. Today, the message from his supporters is for Ron Paul to demand an official recount. And Ron Paul needs to stand up with Dennis Kucinich against this madness of voter fraud. There is another obscure Republican presidential candidate who may be willing to do this, Bev Harris pointed out, and I'm ashamed to say that I don't even know who he is. We need to get the word out about this. I will be back in the third segment to expose some bunch of more news about the 2008 presidential candidates.
America, we started with the revolution. And America, we started with the Constitution.